Old fart on catching balloons. Taking back the narrative from the world. Written and narrated by Peter J. Merrick. A.K.A. Just an old fart trying to make sense of this beautiful and mysterious thing we call life. One lesson at a time. One fall at a time. One more time getting up again to prove to myself that I am still a part of this wonderful game we agreed to call life. Apparently, becoming an old fart comes with one unexpected benefit. Your prostate becomes your personal alarm clock. When I was younger, I used to hear older men joke about getting up 3 or 4 times a night to go to the bathroom. I would laugh, shake my head, and secretly think, poor old bastards. Apparently, life has a wicked sense of humor. Now I am one of them. The funny thing is, I have stopped fighting it. Because somewhere between the bathroom and climbing back into bed, something interesting sometimes happens. A thought quietly floats into my awareness. Not a brilliant thought, not the answer to one of life's great mysteries. Just a little thought drifting through my mind like a balloon without a string. Years ago, I would have ignored it. Today, I try to catch it. Looking back, that simple habit may have changed my life more than almost anything else I have ever done. People often ask me why I spend 2 to 4 hours almost every morning writing. For years, I gave them an answer. Apparently, it was the wrong one. I would tell them I loved writing, that I enjoyed thinking, that I was working on another book. All of that was true. It just was not the truth. Recently, I became conscious of why I really write. I do not write because I love writing. I write because I got tired of lying to myself. That sentence embarrassed me the first time I wrote it. Then it set me free. The older I get, the less interested I become in proving that I am right. I have become much more interested in discovering where I am wrong. Looking back, I have defended ideas that deserve to be abandoned. I have believed stories simply because I had repeated them for so many years they sounded true. Apparently, I hired every thought that walked through the front door of my mind. My hiring standards were embarrassingly low. That little realization made me laugh. Then it made me uncomfortable because I realized many of the beliefs shaping my life were never consciously chosen. Some came from childhood, some came from teachers, some came from business, and some came from relationships that ended years ago. Some came from fear pretending to be wisdom. The strange part was, I honestly thought they were mine. Apparently, familiarity has an amazing ability to disguise itself as truth. That is when writing stopped being something I did. It became something that was changing me. Every morning I sit down with a cup of coffee, a notebook, or my computer, and I begin having a conversation with the one person I cannot escape, me. No audience, no applause, no pretending. Just one old fart trying to figure out whether the story running through his head still deserves to run his life. The world seems louder than it has ever been. Turn on the television, open social media, listen to the experts, the politicians, the influencers, the headlines. Everyone seems convinced they know how I should think, who I should become, and what I should fear. Apparently, everyone wants to write my story. Writing is where I quietly take the pen back. It is where I become conscious. It is where I slow my thinking down enough to examine it. A thought racing through my mind feels true, simply because it moves too fast to question. The moment I write it down, it changes. It becomes something I can actually look at. I can ask, Peter, where did this belief come from? Is it true? Does it still serve a useful purpose? If I keep believing this, what kind of man will I become? Sometimes I smile because the answer is obvious, and other times I sit there staring at the page, realizing I have been carrying around an old story for 20 or 30 years that no longer belongs in my life. Apparently, that is what taking back my narrative really means. Not pretending the past never happened. Not rewriting history, rewriting the meaning I gave it. Choosing consciously which Beliefs deserve to shape the next chapter of my life. Life often feels like a beautiful dream. Other days, it feels like a nightmare. The older I get, the more convinced I become that the difference is not always what happens to us. Quite often, it is the story our unconscious mind keeps telling us about what happened. Writing has become my way of waking up, not from life, from unconscious living. And that simple realization has quietly led me to 5 discoveries that have changed the way this old fart experiences the beautiful and mysterious journey we call life. The first one surprised me. Apparently, I have far more choice than I ever imagined. The first discovery quietly changed the way I look at my own mind. I always have a choice, not about every circumstance, not about every challenge life throws at me, but I always have a choice about which thoughts deserve to become beliefs. Apparently, those are 2 very different things. A thought is simply a visitor. A belief is a tenant. One knocks on the door, the other moves in and starts rearranging the furniture. For years, I welcomed every thought as though it was telling me the truth. Apparently, my standards were embarrassingly low. Today, I ask a different question. Does this thought deserve permanent residency? If the answer is no, out it goes. That became my first discovery. The power of decision. The second discovery followed naturally. I became conscious that I slowly become whatever I repeatedly believe. That is what I call the law of identity. I used to think identity was something I found. Apparently, it is something I build. One decision, one belief, one thought at a time. If I keep telling myself I'm too old, eventually I will live like I'm too old. If I keep reminding myself that I can still learn, still grow, still become a better man, apparently my unconscious mind quietly gets to work making that story more believable. The third discovery made me laugh. Many of the thoughts I was defending were not even mine. They were echoes. An old teacher, a disappointed parent, a failed business deal, a painful relationship, a careless comment made 30 years ago. I had simply repeated those voices so often they sounded like my own. Apparently, yesterday has an amazing ability to disguise itself as today. That became the echo effect. Now, whenever a thought creates fear, shame, or anger, I stop and ask, whose voice am I listening to? That one question has probably saved me years of unnecessary suffering. The fourth discovery arrived by accident. I noticed that my best ideas almost never appeared when I was trying to be clever. They showed up when I stayed curious. I would begin writing about one subject. 3 pages later, I realized I had been writing about something much deeper all along. It was as though one part of my mind had been patiently waiting for the other part to slow down. I call that the mastermind principle, not because I think I'm brilliant. Apparently, I have plenty of evidence to the contrary. It is because curiosity is often wiser than certainty. Questions have changed my life far more than answers ever have. The fifth discovery is the one that keeps bringing me back to the page every morning. The mirror principle. The blank page has never lied to me, not once. I have lied to myself. I have rationalized, made excuses, and protected my ego, blamed other people. The page quietly refuses to participate in any of it. It simply reflects whatever I bring to it. If I am resentful, there it is. If I am afraid, there it is. If I am fooling myself, apparently, there it is too. The page has become the most honest mirror I have ever stood in front of. Recently, I became conscious of one final truth. The world is probably always going to feel a little chaotic. Markets rise and fall. Governments change. Relationships begin and end. People disappoint us. People surprise us. Life keeps unfolding exactly as life has always unfolded. I cannot organize the world, but I can organize the story I tell myself about it. That has become one of the greatest gifts writing has ever given me. Every morning I take thoughts that once rushed through my mind so quickly I automatically believe them. I slow them down on the page. I question them and I pull them apart. Some survive, many do not. Then I consciously place a better story back into my own mind. Not a fantasy, not wishful thinking. A story that has survived honesty. A story that better reflects the man I want to become. And apparently, that is what taking back my narrative really means. Not rewriting my past, rewriting my relationship with it. Tomorrow morning, there is a very good chance my prostate will wake me up again before sunrise. Apparently, some things are simply part of becoming an old fart. Maybe another little balloon will drift into my awareness. Maybe it will be worth catching. Maybe it will not. But I know this. I will make a coffee, open my notebook, tell myself the truth, and keep editing the only story I have ever truly been responsible for, my own, because I have finally come to believe that the greatest freedom we will ever experience is not changing the world around us. It is becoming conscious enough to change the story we tell ourselves about it. Peter J. Merrick, A.K.A. Old Fart, still catching balloons, still taking back my narrative, and still discovering that peace begins the moment we stop lying to ourselves and start telling ourselves the truth.